shop as maize shortage bites. So that's a quick snapshot of what you find in the Daily Nation should you grab a copy today.
And of course, just to complement what Waihika has said, the Standard newspaper, CBK governor, we are after money thieves. So there are tough rules that have been put into place for getting the new currency. If you have 5 million Kenyan shillings and above, Kenyans wishing to exchange more than this amount will require to contact CBK directly. 1 million Kenyan shillings exchanging any amount of this or less will only require a simple visit to your bank to be served. Now, if you have 1 million to about 5 million Kenyan shillings, a customer seeking to exchange between 1 million to 5 million to visit their banks and the lenders to follow the known your customer rules. We saw the CBK governor also meet with other CEOs within the region, that's within East Africa, as well as other institutions. Remember this term, Cambridge Analytica?
That's right.
Sounds familiar to you?
Who can forget that term? Yep. That agency touched several elections around the world, including the Kenya one, if what they said is to be believed.
Yeah,
yes.
And that of also America. They say that they were in charge of putting Trump in power. ODM leader recalls how Cambridge Analytica helped hijack Kenya's democracy, manipulate voters with apocalyptic attacks on ads, and smeared him as a violent, corrupt, and dangerous person. So he responds to that on page 4. Of course, the issue of hackers is also here on the Standard newspaper, but let's begin with the Daily Nation.
That's right. Want to take a look at that. Honorable Elachi, want to get your thoughts on this? New currencies rolling out by this weekend. You might be able to actually withdraw some from your bank account. Decisive blow on corruption, or too little too late? What are your thoughts?
First of all, it was for the first time we had a secret.
For the first time we had a secret
that you unveiled it at Narok, and everyone is like, nah. What just happened? Congratulations, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, our president. For the first time, we can keep a secret in our country.
So you are not involved in this public participation that the central bank governor
in terms of public participation, we've done it for a while, by the way, on the issue. But in terms of now telling us, this is it. Because when he brought in the coins, you remember, we looked at the coins and we said, these guys are just joking, but they had a day over day. So welcome to New Madaraka Day. It was a new dawn from the breakfast meeting to now new money. And we had talked about corruption. So again, we are complaining. I mean, then we are not serious. Because we said it's a new dawn on Thursday, the 30th. And we said we have to accept and move. So for me to see it being unveiled on Madaraka, I said, indeed, it's a new dawn. And not just about the money of those who are corrupt or what. I think in terms of also moving on and appreciating that we had accepted in the new constitution, we will have to see this new money. What I don't understand now is the problem of our founding father, which is now a portrait, because now, do you want us to say we will never touch now Kenyatta International Convention Center because there is a portrait of Kenyatta? Now, I need to ask Kenyans today to tell me, Kenyatta never enforced himself on us. Those days when our fathers and our fathers were there, went and requested him, can you be our founding father? Now today we are so bitter when we see the word Kenyatta. Excuse me? We have to come out of that. And if you have a problem with him, you need to come out and tell us. But to tell us now you're going to court.
And others have already gone to court.
They need to tell us, what did Kenyatta do so wrong to you that you cannot forgive? That you cannot ask yourself and you are judging. God says do not judge. I think we have said we want a new dawn in our country.
Okay.
So if you have hatred of Kenyatta, because it's now not the portrait, it's something else, we need to understand the hatred. And by the time you're going to a judge, I need to understand this judge. Do you want to really push Kenya backwards, or we are moving forward?
Good. We'll get some reactions from the rest of the panelists because you've raised some very interesting points. But Honorable Dulu, let's start from the very beginning. Your thoughts on this new currency before we get into the controversy of that statue of the founding father of the country.
Now, let me say, as Senator Speaker Elachi has said, because that is a title that you'll have to live with. And we need to appreciate that. The currency issue is long overdue. And of course, as a country, we need to move on because we have the new constitution that has been there over almost 9 or 10 years. It's long overdue. And secondly, you know, Kenyans normally react to new things. It happens. But for me, I think it's high time that we should have embraced the issue of the new notes and moved on, because looking at it, it is even very beautiful, for sure.
That is your assessment?
My assessment. Last week I was in Canada, and looking at the Canadian notes, they are really beautiful. When we have ours that has been there over centuries, and we have not even changed. So for those who are making noise, of course, Kenya is a litigant country. We can allow them that latitude.
You can allow them that latitude.
But in terms of fighting corruption, let me say, we're always singing about corruption. How much corruption have we fought? Yeah? That is a question we need to ask ourselves. We are always saying we are fighting corruption, we are doing ABCD about corruption. Somebody should tell us how much corruption have we fought? What percentage? Yeah? Because we see people being arrested today, tomorrow they are out on the streets doing the same things. Yeah?
Do you think this transfer to the new currency will be a challenge possibly to some of your constituents who might be very far from the banks, might see no need to go to the banks?
Let me say, ordinary constituents, they don't even have 1 million. Some of them, they can't even afford 100. Let me tell you where I come from. So the new currency does not even affect them.
Okay.
Maybe the people who will be affected are those who are keeping the money under their pillows, which I think, if they are found, let the law enforcers take action against them. But I think it's a good move. And more so the policy where more than 1 million should not be allowed in terms of withdrawal and deposit has really worked in this country. And we must appreciate. Let me congratulate the president and the leadership of this country for having actually launched the new notes. And if that is going to help us fight corruption, let be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honorable Boss Shirley, again, your thoughts on this as well. This new introduction, Beatrice Elachi says that finally as a country we can keep a surprise. But one would say, as much as they're hailing the CBK governor, that this is just a short-term solution. After we start using the new currency, and after October 1st, sort of things have settled, tomorrow the same thieves will still be doing the same thing, only the currency is a different color.
No, I think my colleagues have spoken quite well on this, but I think we are 9 years late. Actually, the CBK governor is 9 years late. The Constitution in 2010 decreed that we must have currency that does not have individual portraits and must have images that symbolize Kenya or depict Kenya. So we can say that the requirement was endorsed by Kenyans in the passing of the Constitution in 2010. And remember, if you look at the non-contentious issues during the Boma's constitution-making process, that was not a contentious issue. That means everyone agreed from across the divide. So yes, we needed to do it. But also, if we look at it from an economic perspective and the challenges that are facing not only Kenya but other countries, think of it. People who deal in drugs don't bank their money because then they don't pay tax. There's no one who says, I've traded in so many billions worth of drugs, and therefore I'm declaring this much tax and paying it. So there's people, so it deals with illicit trade, like that kind of stuff. It deals with being able to get people to pay taxes so they're not hiding their money. So it's a good thing, and we know that there's been a lull, okay? So that's one point. Secondly, this also addresses the issue of counterfeit money. Because our banknotes are such that they can be copied. So with the new banknotes, we are able to put in the latest security features. Just the way that we are now required as Kenyans to have the digital passports, or else you will not get a visa to enter into certain countries. So this is where the world is going. And on one more important point is, yes, I've seen that people have gone to court. It's in their right to go to court. But what I would like to appeal to the judiciary and warn the judges, don't make the courts have become a joke. I mean, people take matters that are not even justiciable in the name of public interest litigation to our courts, and our judges entertain it. So, in fact, this morning I said, let me check what portrait means in the dictionary. The dictionary meaning of portrait is a likeness of a person, especially of a face, as a painting, drawing, or photograph. That is the meaning of portrait. Okay? Is the photograph of KICC and it's the surrounding area a portrait? The answer is no. Even a nursery school child knows that. Then and sometimes, and even if you look at the way we use the description of the word portrait, I can say, you told the story of Gladys Cholet, and therefore you painted an interesting portrait of her life. Okay, that is the text of it. But today, remember, we have the Kenyatta International Convention Center. It was named after the founding father. When I think of an image of KICC, that sculpture is in the background.
Right.
It's part of the building. When I look at Parliament, you have Parliament, and then there's also the sculpture that's around it. And similarly, think of it, we have the doors that were carved during colonial times of the Parliament buildings. If you look at the clock on top of Parliament, it's very similar to Westminster. So are you going to tell me that that is a portrait of the UK? No, that is an image that depicts Kenya. Today you show the picture of KICC to any student, they will tell you that is KICC, even if they've never visited it. They will also tell you this is a picture of the Supreme Court. They will tell you this is a picture of Kenya's parliament. So yes, it is not a portrait.
Well, your fellow lawyer Okiya Mtata says, or that he suggests that the picture KICC building could have been taken from different angles. We could have had the same building, the Supreme Court, right there, and not...
It is not for him to decide how the photograph is taken. The point is, if I took a picture from any angle, is there a possibility that I will get the sculpture of the founding father? The answer is yes. Just the way, if I took a picture of Parliament from any angle, is there a possibility that I could get the big clock, which is similar to Westminster? And we are not saying that that is a portrait of the UK, even though it's something we borrowed from colonial times. So I think we are taking interpretations and becoming too litigious for no reason.
Okay, let's bring Honorable.
And so we hope, and those are matters. And I think the reason why we have a crisis in the judiciary with backlog is because they take every case, even when it's not justiciable. It's about time that the judges, and they have the power to do so, that on the face of it, at the pre-trial conference, dismiss a case. Because they're just wasting taxpayers' money and holding up the country. And they should be able to look at it and say, for the larger good, if we can deal with drugs, if we can deal with illegal money that comes in to fund terrorism.
In your view, that is the greater good as opposed to what issues
I think trying to look at the picture of who's who, of what side, then let's demolish KICC and do something
Thank you, Honorable Boss. Honorable Wanga, come into this. She says, she's used the word a joke. But a joke to one person is a very serious matter to another. What are your thoughts on this? And your party has also had very interesting views, blowing hot and cold on the matter. One group saying, we have a problem, that's a portrait. But another group saying, that group does not represent the views of ODM.
Yeah, I think people have spoken as individuals on the matter from our party. But what I'd like to say is, first, why did Kenyans in 2010 deal with the issue of having portraits on currency? And I think it was because we were coming to a point where some notes had the founding father. Then now we were in a multi-party democracy. There was a possibility that every 5 years you get a new president. So we were dealing with the issue of, there was a possibility that every 5 years, because we had the founding father on the initial notes, then President Moi, on other notes, then, Kibaki is the one who said, no, don't put me on the note. But then there was a possibility that if Kibaki served for 5 years, we would have his portrait on the notes, then we would then have another president on the notes. So we wanted to deal with the issue of having to change currency every 5 years in the event of an election. So that is the problem we were dealing with. And we dealt with it effectively. And as has been said, we probably should have had these change currencies as soon as we had
Much
the
earlier.
new constitution. It's taken us this long and we've gotten here. What is the bigger picture? We want to deal seriously and we want to support, and we've all said we want to support the fight against corruption. And there's been a feeling, and even to some extent we've seen media reports that there are people stashing huge amounts of money in their homes, wherever, in houses, in buildings, and so on. And if this deals a blow on that, then we want to support it 100%. And then coming back to the issue of whether this is a portrait or not, I think that is the most frivolous of all arguments, because if we have KICC and we have that sculpture of the founding father, should we go and carve out that sculpture now and remove it and say this is not KICC? And it is not, because if you look at the American dollar, for example, the $100 bill, if you have it, you have Benjamin Franklin on the front. At the back, you have the Independence Hall. If that Independence Hall had a sculpture of something or of someone, you cannot disassociate those two. So I think let us not trivialize this debate on the new currencies. Let us not make it about a portrait or not, because what my feeling is this, that there are some people who are stashing away this money. Now they have found a way, they have found an argument on this matter. They have found an argument, and these are the people who are sending people to court.
But this change of currency is a short-term solution, would you say? It still doesn't, at the heart of it?
No, it is very serious, because we've had this currency for very long. So if I was stashing money, I have stashed a lot of it, So I have to, people have to think seriously. And you see, it goes and complements the other measures we have now. Because right now, first of all, withdrawing and depositing money in banks, there's already tight knobs there. The issue of corruption within our institutions, we're also tightening that. So in addition to that, having also sweeping all the old currencies out, it will have impact that even Kenyans cannot imagine yet.
Do you think the deadline should have been earlier, instead of October 1st then?
No, I just support the deadline. I don't want to get into this argument of, because I saw the people who are talking about reduce the deadline. It's as if to say, we don't have stashed money. Reduce it if you want. I don't want to get into that. I just want to say we support the Central Bank of Kenya. We support the president. We don't want to trivialize this matter in any way. We just want to be able to deal with this issue once and for all.
Okay.
So I don't want to trivialize it.
I think the 3 months is pretty reasonable.
It's pretty reasonable. I'll come back to you after the break.
Looking at other countries.
Looking at other countries. I'll come back. So this is a discussion I think we'll stay with after the break, because also want to look at the rollout. Is it being done in the right way? And for viewers who are watching across the country, probably wondering, how will this affect me? We'll get some thoughts of our leaders here, of what they expect to see, especially for those who've looked at the case study of India and what happened there. What lessons can Kenya learn as they as we get closer and closer to the 1st of October? But we have one SMS, I believe, that we can read before we take that break. All right, you don't give us your name, but to say about the new currency, I cannot say the statue should be in our currency, but the picture of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta should be just like on the dollar. American President George Washington is there to remind the generation where they began through independence.
All right, of course, this is coming from that specific article on our Constitution 231 Cap 4, which has become the new law that is up to the subject of a fresh legal battle, whether to have him there or not. And you've heard from the women here.